We decided we're randomly going to shoot an impromptu Q&A because we're up here basically in the in my apartment filming ads, and then yeah, we decided this is a good spot for a Q&A. My filmer, Luke, decided that this would be a good spot, so we're just sitting up here now. So we're trying to find and rattle off questions, and I think instead of me doing the usual route of asking people on Instagram, asking people around me, so on and so forth, I've actually asked ChatGPT, funny enough, what is some questions that potentially people would find interesting based on our chat history. So, what's a belief about money making or business that you had? What's a belief about making money or business that you had to completely unlearn once you started winning? So, a belief that I had, because I come from a very poor background, is that making money is hard. And there's a big saying in Australia that money doesn't grow on trees. And I hate that saying because it's like, it makes it feel so scarce and so limited, when actually money does grow on trees. Money is paper, money is fucking from the earth. It's something created. It's not anything that's actually real. So it's only real based on the value that we assign to it, because we can give it to somebody else and they'll give us other things for it that has an assigned value. But actually it's just a piece of plastic or it's a piece of paper. And I can't stand that everyone puts such a fucking scarcity on a dollar. Now, I understand if you don't have any, it's hard. But when I started making a lot of money, this is one of the things that I had to unlearn, untrain from my mind as quickly as possible, that things aren't scarce. They only seem scarce because you don't have any. Another question is, what's something you're very good at in business and most people think they're good at, but absolutely aren't? So a lot of people think they're actually good at stress tolerance. A lot of people think they can handle a lot on their plate, but they actually cannot. This is something, and this is where I kind of excel in a sense, because a lot of things don't actually bother me too much. As some people would call it, extreme stoicism or things of that nature. It's not actually, it's just things don't actually bother me. I think from a young age, I realized that I had a lot of stressful things happen and a lot of potentially not so great things happen, that when it comes to things that are inside a business that are they're gonna go past, they're gonna be fine. You're probably gonna figure out. The whole game of business is puzzle solving. So you're probably gonna figure out the puzzle. So in that time period, in these times, I don't really get stressed really at all, because I know that these things are gonna pass and it never really bothers me in the moment. Never really has. But I think that just comes from purely a very young age. Now, a lot of people, they get into business and they think, oh yeah, cool. I can handle a lot of stress, but actually you can't, okay? A lot of people don't have the stress tolerance to be in the entrepreneurial game. That's why it fucks them. For example, they'll work Monday to Friday and on Saturday they're feeling burnout because they've had to deal with all these issues all week. I'm actually annoyed that I don't work longer or more than I do right now. So yeah, I mean, that makes the difference. I deal with a ton of issues every week and I still want more. I want more puzzles to solve. I want more things to do, or I get extremely bored. Or I've seen it the other way where it burns people out and they're like, fuck, I'm tired all the time. I feel drained. I don't get that effect from it. And if anything, I get more fired up and excited from it. So how do you recover from bad weeks or losses? Everything in your life is going to come in some type of ebb and flow. Now for me, I know this because of trading. Now, when you're at a high in the market, okay, it's a no-brainer. It has to come down. It's not just going to continually go up. Now, your life's going to move very similarly. Now, the height of the high and the low of the low is completely dependent on you, but your life will move in waves. It'll come in periods where it's really good. It'll go in periods where it's not that great or boring or bad, and it'll go into periods where it's great again. So when you're in a period of bad things happening or bad losers or anything like that, learn what you can from it, because you know at that point, once you've learned the lesson in that divot, that you're going to skyrocket to a level that was higher than the previous high prior. I've seen this happen throughout my life since I was young. And when you get older, when you pass 20, when you pass, or even, I don't even think it's really an age thing. I think once you're cognizant of the fact that that is how life works, that it works in waves, you can really take advantage of that. I think a lot of it is actually just knowing that that's how it fucking works. And then from that point, learning that, okay, I'm in a bad period here. Let me grind my way out. Let me figure out what I need to do. Potentially it's the fucking universe telling me I'm not working hard enough and shit needed to happen for me in order to ascend to that high. I know everyone says it about fucking girlfriends. It's like, okay, yeah, you became a fat, useless cunt. And then your girlfriend left you, and then you just became a shredded beast that has heaps of money. It's like life gave you that kick so then you could go again, okay? So if you just know bad shit's happening to you, know it's for a reason. Figure out the fucking lesson in it and then ascend to that next high. Why do most agencies collapse after 10 to 15 clients? Now, the reason these agencies collapse, you may collapse after 10 clients, is just because you're not outsourcing enough. You think that, okay, cool, I have 24 hours in a day, I'll be able to deliver for all these clients and make so much money. Yes, you might be able to make so much money in the short term, but wouldn't you rather delegate all that workload, make 50% less, but then all your brain power is allocated towards growing? Okay, you always want to be taking these pay cuts and outsourcing to high quality talent and just taking that pay cut. When you're at 10 clients, you should realistically have all of that outsourced to your team, and you should be making sure you're sitting over in a helicopter view, okay, an eagle eye view, making sure that they're doing a good job. Okay, you don't want to be in the weeds of the account. If you're in the weeds of too many accounts, you're too distracted, you can never have time for growth. So this is what I've seen with a lot of 10 to 15 client agencies, is that they want so much money. They're like, yes, 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 let me make all the money from these fucking 10 clients, let me make like 20 grand a month and outsource and have no one in the business, okay, which is fine, but you're going to be working all the time. You're never going to have any free time for growth, and I'm going to lap you 100 times because my team's better than you. I have a lot more input from my team, okay? There's a lot more brains focused on the goal, and I have all my time focused on acquisition, scaling, and growing, okay? You may stay at the same level, you may deliver well for those clients, but you'll never really get ahead. What's the biggest lie agencies tell clients? Okay, I've seen this with a couple massive agencies, massive agencies that do hundreds of millions of dollars a year. They tell their clients that there is a learning phase, okay? Now, there is a learning phase in a sense, first month, okay? It does take time for the system to kick in. It will take 2 to 3 months of tweaking, optimizing, okay? In a sense, learning, okay? Or growing the account, getting it to kickstart and go. But a lot of these guys, they come in, they go, okay, cool, it's month 3. Yeah, we're still learning. We don't understand what's happening in the account because of this. That's a lie, okay? A lot of the time, if you've seen bad performance for 3 consecutive months, they're purely just trying to keep you in for the churn, for the retention cycle, okay? I know a big agency in Australia that they lock you in for a 6-month period, and yeah, the results are never good. They're basically, the retainer is as much as your ad spend, okay? And you're stuck in for that whole 6-month period, or they take you to court. So unfortunately, if you have to be very, very worried about lock-in contracts. Me at my agency with my team, we don't actually charge any lock-ins. We just work month to month, and people stay with us because we're actually good. We actually care about the business, and we want to retain you, so we do. Again, good work, okay? And I've thought about doing higher contract periods, but I've decided against it every single time, purely because if you do good work, people will stay with you. So there is no reason to lock in higher. So that's the biggest lie a lot of these big agencies tell you is, okay, we're learning. We're 5 months in and we're still learning. No, they're scamming you, okay? And locking contracts, big scam as well. When did you realize you weren't built for an oil job? Now for me, okay, and you've probably all been the same, you figured it out at different portions of your life, but for me, I knew from like very, very young. I remember year 4 telling my friends and asking them and prodding them with questions about, oh, what do you see for my life when you're older? What do you see? What do you see? And they all used to say, yeah, like I see you in a suit, like businessman type thing. And I used to kind of prod that question or like poke it into their mind because I used to talk about business all the time. I used to like sell books on the side of the road, and I always knew that I was never really going to pay attention or listen in school because I always knew I was going to own a business of some sort. I didn't like listening to people. I don't like taking commands, and yeah, it's not for me at all. Okay, so I knew that's from a very, very, very young age, okay, that I was never going to do anything else. I used to tell people all the time, I'd be a businessman, be an investor, these type of things, okay, so I knew from very, very young. And I feel like if you're entrepreneurial at a young age, you also had the same thought. It didn't sporadically come into your mind. You knew from pretty young, okay, that this is the path that you were going to take. Whether in one realm or another, you knew at a normal job working at a IGA or a Coles or a Woolworths or anything like that isn't for you. That's not what you want for the rest of your life. Or in Australia, a big thing is taking on a trade. I was never going to take on a trade. It was never for me. And if I did, it was going to be, I was going to start a business behind it. So job's never been for me. I like the job and work I do now and people I work with. So it makes the most sense for me. So what's the cost of not trying? Now, the cost of not trying is everything. So the cost of not trying is anything you've ever achieved. If you've ever had dreamed of, if you've ever had a thought of doing something better, if you had a thought of becoming better, getting something that's above the average, anything like that, that is the cost of not trying, okay? Potentially imagine that you said you wanted to start a business, you want to make money for your family, your family member gets very sick, you don't have the ability to pay for that surgery, pay for those things that could potentially save their life at some point. That is also the cost of not trying. The cost of not trying, especially in a life when you only live that one time, is everything. You're never going to be here again. Nothing you see nor do will be here in 80 years. Everything will be completely different. Your children will live a completely different life to what you led, okay? So the cost of not trying is not setting up your family, not ensuring your family's safety, and not ensuring a fun one life for yourself and your kids, okay? If you're not trying in every single aspect of your life, whether that be gym, money making, business, friendships, everything like that, relationships, okay? You're wasting the one time that you have on this planet and all the fruits and things you can enjoy, okay? By being a fuck up, by purely going out and trying to kill yourself early, trying to kill your brain cells by drinking, by doing drugs, by fucking up, okay? The cost of not trying is massive. So anything you've ever wanted in life is super, super possible, but because of your pure incompetence and greed, okay, it does come down to greed at the end of the day. If you don't want to try and you don't want to put in your maximum effort, you're literally being greedy. If you have the ability to do more, meaning 2 hands, 2 legs, eyes, and a functioning brain, okay, and you don't try to do more, you are being greedy, okay? Not everyone in your family can be entrepreneurial. So if you have that vibe or you have that type to go out and do more, be more, okay, you should definitely seize that with all of your might, okay? You can basically do anything in this life you want. You can, any like dream you've ever had has already been done, whether it be buy a supercar at a young age. Somebody's already done it before, so it is possible. Things that have been done are possible for you too. So go out and try anything you possibly can. What actually makes meta ads work in 2025? The biggest thing that makes meta ads work in 2025 is a simplified structure, meaning that existing audience, new audience, everything like that is getting served the products they want to see based on reports, based on data, and that you have enough creative diversity and creative in the account, okay? Having creative pipeline and enough creative pumped in the account while strictly monitoring and managing the metrics is probably the most important thing, okay? Not about tips, not about like audiences. It's not about segmenting in a certain way, okay? Although these things can help, it's not usually about that anymore. What it is about is having enough creative volume, enough creative pipeline, just coming through purely. So that's basically it. Now I'm gonna finish off here because I'm sick of answering Q&A questions and I don't want this to be a long video, but we're gonna start recording more things. We do have Luke, the cameraman now, so it should be a lot easier to film things, do things, and record these type of videos. Plus, we have a very good space and setup for it here in Australia right now. So anything you guys want to see further, let me know. We'll record. And yeah, I'll see you all soon.